Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating concept, a blueprint for what the future of governing could look like. I want you to imagine a national budget, but instead of just being a huge financial document, it's a living, breathing, tech-driven roadmap. We're going to unpack how generative AI could, one day, be the architect behind India's entire union budget.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. The central idea here is a total game changer. We're moving way beyond AI being just a bullet point in a speech. We're talking about AI becoming the actual engine room of fiscal policy. It's a huge shift, from AI being something the government just talks about to it being a tool the government actually thinks with.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. The budget stops being only about money and becomes a declaration that technology isn't some side project anymore. No, it's the central nervous system for how the nation grows and is governed. So the big question is, how on earth would you actually engineer something like this? Well, first things first, it's really important to get this. This wasn't about creating some new AI ministry and sticking it in a corner. The whole vision was to weave AI into everything, right across the board, making it what you'd call a force multiplier. Think of it less like a brand new department and more like a new layer of intelligence for every single existing one, from agriculture to healthcare. And this is where the big ideas start to feel real. These aren't just abstract goals, we're talking about concrete projects. Take 𝗵𝗶𝘀, an AI that could give a farmer in rural Punjab specific crop advice in Punjabi. Now, to make that happen, you need some serious infrastructure, and that's where things like tax incentives for data centers come into play. But maybe the most important part? Look at the focus on contextual AI. This isn't about grabbing some one-size-fits-all model from Silicon Valley. It's about building tools that truly understand India's incredible diversity. So that's the what. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually build an AI system that's powerful enough to help with a national budget? It's time to pop the hood and look at the technical blueprint. Okay, so here's the engine room. It all starts at the input layer. Picture a giant digital funnel, just pulling in everything from official GDP data to citizen feedback tweeted out in 20 different languages. All that raw stuff then flows to the data platform. Think of this as a super secure high-tech refinery or a data lake that cleans, sorts, and organizes everything. From there, it hits the AI services layer, and this is the real brain of the operation. This is where advanced models, like large language models, find patterns humans might miss. And finally, all that intelligence gets delivered through the application layer, the dashboards and tools that turn all that complex data into clear, useful advice for real people. So, we've got the engine. Now, let's see how it actually gets used. How does this technology plug into the messy, year-round, real-world process of actually making policy? What you see here is how AI gets woven into every single stage. So before the budget is even drafted, it's acting like a super analyst spotting hidden trends in decades of economic data. Then, during public consultations, it becomes a universal translator, making sure every voice in every language is actually heard. And this next part is huge. Policy simulation. It lets you test the economic impact of a decision before you make it. Imagine asking, what's the likely impact on crop yields if we increase fertilizer subsidies during a weak monsoon, and getting a data-backed answer in minutes, not months. Then, once the budget is out, the AI becomes a watchdog, monitoring how it's all being rolled out in real time. Of course, with this much power comes a massive amount of responsibility. You can't just unleash an AI on national policy without some very serious rules of the road. So let's look at the absolutely crucial governance frameworks and safety guardrails that would have to be built into the system. The very first guardrail is this idea called explainable AI, or XAI. Basically, it's the no black boxes rule. It means that if the AI suggests a certain policy, an official has to be able to ask it, okay, show me your work. The system has to lay out a clear, auditable trail of its reasoning. This isn't just about being transparent, it's about building accountability right into the code itself. And this next one might be the most important concept of all, human in the loop. This makes it crystal clear. The AI is an advisor, not a decider. It's there to augment human intelligence, to make it more powerful, not to replace it. The final critical policy decisions stay exactly where they belong, with elected human representatives. Full stop. And these big ideas are all built on these 4 key pillars you see here. Everything from making sure the AI is inclusive and ethical to guaranteeing data privacy and transparency. It's a whole framework designed to ensure the technology is serving the people and not the other way around. All right, so let's zoom out a bit as we wrap up.
This isn't just a story about India or about 1 year's budget. What we're really looking at here is a potential new blueprint for digital governance, one that could have massive implications for the entire world.
This little comparison chart kind of says it all, doesn't it? We're talking about a move from a process that was slow, manual, and siloed, where one department's data might never reach another, to one that is completely data-driven, interconnected, and built from the ground up to be scalable and inclusive.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? This blueprint treats AI as something fundamental, like public infrastructure, like roads or the power grid. It's not just a fancy new gadget. It's a foundational layer for the whole country. It becomes a strategic asset for breaking down barriers and driving real growth, all while staying in line with global standards for safety and ethics. And on the world stage, that is a very powerful statement to make.
Which brings us to one last big question to think about. The union budget is one of the most complex, most consequential things a government produces. If AI can help architect that, what other fundamental parts of how we govern are next in line for this kind of transformation? The possibilities, well, they're pretty staggering to think about.